Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gregory Hillhouse, and the title of my presentation is Towards Establishing the Botswana Institute for Nuclear Science and Technology, abbreviated as BINST, B-I-N-S-T. The outline of my presentation is as follows. Over the past few decades, nuclear science and technology have contributed towards helping countries tackle key development challenges, including combating hunger, improving health, ensuring clean water, and supporting responsible food production, just to mention but a few. Nuclear science and technology hold great development potential to meet the objectives of the African Union's Agenda 2063 and the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Indeed, nuclear science and technology have the potential to support socio-economic development in diverse sectors such as health, food, agriculture, security, mining, through skills development for driving the fourth industrial revolution and to drive a knowledge-based economy in alignment with the objectives of the NDP 11 and Vision 2036 of Botswana. Modern society cannot function without non-energy nuclear radiation technologies. The benefits of these technologies are enormous, with global markets exceeding $500 billion annually and growing rapidly. Botswana needs to capitalize on the deployment of high-tech nuclear technologies for basic applied and industrial research, with innovations leading to commercialization and income-generating prospects. In 2018, our department submitted a request to the IAEA through the Radiation Protection Inspectorate to assist us in developing a business plan for establishing training and teaching programs in nuclear science and technology to support key projects in Botswana through the country program framework. The IAEA responded by sending an expert, Professor Edward Akaho from the University of Ghana, to Botswana from the 4th to the 9th of November 2018 to meet with various stakeholders. He met with BUST, UB, Radiation Protection Inspectorate, NFTRC, and DTRI. As a result of this visit to Botswana, Professor Akaho produced a 49-page report, which was structured as shown on this slide. In particular, he did a detailed needs assessment. He reviewed the academic training programs at universities in Botswana. He looked at what are the human resource development requirements to establish an institute called the Botswana Institute for Nuclear Science and Technology at BUST, and so on. Part of this report led to various recommendations to University of Botswana and other stakeholders, but here we'll talk explicitly about those recommendations to BUST. He stated that BUST should liaise with government and stakeholders to establish the Botswana Institute for Nuclear Science and Technology to solve local socio-economic problems and generate income through services and the commercialization of products emanating from innovative research using state-of-the-art nuclear technologies and facilities. BINST is to be established as a national nuclear institute to serve all universities in Botswana, as well as public, private institutions and industries. BINST should be supervised by an atomic energy board, yet to be established by an act of parliament, which is separate from the independent regulatory body, which we know is the Radiation Protection Inspectorate. The executive director of BINST will be answerable to the office of the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Development and Innovation at BUST. In this report, it was stated that BINST should be established on BUST's very large campus of 2,500 hectares, and a number of laboratories were proposed, in particular an accelerator research center comprised of possibly two accelerators, namely a 25 megavolt electron accelerator and a 3 MeV Tandotron accelerator, nuclear physics teaching lab, alpha and gamma spectrometry lab, and you'll see there's a whole host of laboratories that are listed on the slide, including a radioactive waste management center and workshops for repair and maintenance of digital equipment and mechanical equipment. The proposed structure is as shown on the slide, where you can see all the laboratories mentioned, but I draw your attention to the IAEA would assist with drawing up radiobiology programs, as well as programs in nuclear techniques in industry, applied nuclear physics and technology. And at that stage, we identified the human capital requirements for these various laboratories. Further IAEA recommendations for BUST were to develop and organize postgraduate academic programs in the application of nuclear techniques in industry, applied nuclear physics and technology, accelerator physics and engineering, and radiation biology. We should collaborate with the relevant national authorities to identify and characterize the site for BINST. Establish a project management team for the design and construction of physical infrastructure for BINST, and then to seek technical assistance from the IAEA in terms of procurement and commissioning of infrastructure associated with BINST. Initial projects to be associated with the accelerators would be in the areas of food and water, in particular sterilization of meat and agricultural produce, energy and the environment, to use an electron beam technology to remove harmful emissions from coal-fired flue gas, of which there's plenty in the Palapye region, health and medicine, to treat malignant tumors using electron beam technologies, look at the possibility of producing short-lived radioisotopes for diagnostic medical purposes. There were also mentions of mineral beneficiation, national security, material science, where products and services could be developed to serve the region and the continent at large, as well as non-destructive testing to identify manufacturing defects in industrially manufactured objects. The estimated cost was about 10 million USD for laboratory infrastructure, including the accelerators. Also, teaching equipment was estimated to cost the amount shown on the screen in front of you. And it was proposed that a detailed budget should be drawn up in consultation with the IAEA. From the report, there were recommendations to government, in particular to establish an atomic energy board through an act of parliament to serve as an operating organization for the overall supervision of all nuclear installations, to continue signing and ratifying all relevant legal nuclear instruments, treaties, and conventions, and to fund the construction of buildings, the acquisition of accelerators, and the recruitment of qualified and competent human capital for BINST. Then, in response to the IAEA report, a committee was set up by our then acting Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Development, Innovation, Professor Lungu. He set up a committee to review the report and to make recommendations on the way forward. Such a committee was set up, was chaired by me, and the committee came up with recommendations essentially supporting the IAEA recommendations. Thereafter, the executive management team at BUST sent a letter to the Ministry of Tertiary Education, Research, Technology to request IAEA assistance in performing a detailed cost analysis and also to assist us in identifying the types of accelerators we would need at BINST. This was followed up by a letter to the IAEA from the then Permanent Secretary of MOTE, Dr. Muko, and he said there we need assistance in performing a comprehensive cost analysis of infrastructure, equipment, and human capital. And also we need assistance in determining the final specifications of the accelerator facilities that would be needed. Thereafter, I was contacted by the IAEA, specifically Mr. Neil Jarvis, to say that we should start discussions on what exactly we need for BINST. This was followed up with an email to Mr. Jarvis saying that we have set up various groups in nuclear science and technology, and we would require teaching and research laboratories in nuclear physics, radiochemistry, radiobiology, isotope hydrology, non-destructive testing. We'd also need the following laboratories that are listed on the slide. In particular, we need to identify the specific types of accelerators that are needed and how Botswana will benefit, and we need assistance in this regard. In 2020, I was designated by the IAEA as a project counterpart for a concept project titled Development of National Nuclear Science Training Program and Research Capacities. A proposal was drawn up together with the assistance from Dr. Kureba while I was in sick leave, and the proposal was fledged under the following headings. In particular, we required funding to set up a multidisciplinary nuclear science and technology lab, together with human capital of about 200,000 euros. So at the moment, this has been submitted to the IAEA. We are now waiting for funding to kickstart the project in 2022. To identify the relevant local stakeholders, we are organizing a series of workshops. Today's workshop is part of that series to really identify collaborative synergies in the nuclear landscape. At present, we are drafting a project plan for establishing BINST in consultation with the IAEA, and we have identified preliminary workstream initiatives and milestones for the period 2021 to 2026. In particular, you will see here that the first segment is related to the IAEA concept project. There's another section on educational programs. We need to register and accredit our undergraduate programs. That will be a BSc Applied Physics, a BSc Honors in Applied Physics, as well as Masters and PhD programs with the Botswana Qualifications Authority. We also need to develop human capital by training students, technicians, academic staff, together with our partners at Itemba Labs in South Africa and the Joint Institute for Nuclear Research in Russia. In particular, the latter partners will assist us in designing an electron accelerator, which we will commission in Botswana in the next 5 or so years. Also, we need to meet with stakeholders to identify pilot research projects to be undertaken at BINST. So if you are interested in participating in this exciting project, you are cordially invited to contact me. And here are my details. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.